Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Wealth Wednesday. I'm April Joy with Alajoy and Associates, where we believe there should be faith, family, and freedom in every interaction. Tonight, we're talking about something that affects almost every household, budgeting and debt. If you've ever felt like your paycheck disappears before the month is over, or you've wondered where your money actually goes, or you've thought, I'll never get out of debt, this conversation is for you. My goal tonight isn't to make anyone feel bad. My goal is to help you leave with hope and a practical plan. So the first part of this is to talk about a budget. And it's so important for us to make sure that we know where our money goes every month. Have you ever looked at your checking account and said, where did my paycheck go? I have a question. How many of you actually have a current budget right now? Most people don't. But a budget isn't about restriction. A budget is simply giving every dollar a job before you spend it. A budget equals freedom. Where does your money go? Needs. So, of course, you have to pay for your housing, your utilities, your food, your transportation, and, of course, insurance. But then you also have things like your wants, right? Streaming services, dining out, vacations, entertainment. And then you have savings. Your emergency fund, retirement, home purchase, investments. So you have to start with understanding good debt versus bad debt, because not all debt is created equally. Good debt could be your mortgage, education, of course, when it's manageable, business investments. Your bad debt is high interest credit cards, payday loans, buy now, pay later. I know we all love Klarna and Zip and all those things, but you're paying interest, and a lot of times it's way too much to be paying and you're losing money. And of course, any high interest personal loans. What debt causes the most stress in your household? And I would definitely say it's generally the bad debt, right? So we know we get done with the beginning. So we pay all the bills, and then what we should be doing with that additional or extra income or extra money is to apply it to some type of investment to help it grow, some type of savings, to make sure that your money is used for your future, as opposed to getting whatever it is that you need right this minute. So I'm going to discuss two different types of methods for you to work on your credit. So one is the debt snowball method. And this is the best for people who need motivation. This kind of holds you accountable, and it helps you get that debt paid off just by adding a little extra every month. So the first step is you need to know all of your debts. Okay, so make sure that any credit cards, any loans, any type of financial payments that you're making, you capture it. You make sure that you know what the interest rate is and how long it's going to take you to pay it back. And you list those debts in order from the smallest balance to the largest. And for this, you generally pay the minimums on everything. But you want to throw any extra money that you have at that smallest debt. You're starting with the smallest debt. And then once you pay that one and it's paid off, you roll that payment into the next debt, right? So basically, if you had your lowest credit card was $500, right? And your minimum payment is $25. We would ask you to start with $100, and instead of paying $25 on that card, you pay $125 on that card until it's paid off. Then you roll that same $125 that you've been paying, even though that's paid off, you roll it into the debt that is above it. So let's say the next one, you still are paying the minimum payments on all of them. So everything is getting paid. We're not like, not paying some things and no, this is all of your debt. Would you start with the smallest? So you take that $125 that you've been paying every month towards this debt, and you roll it up to the next debt. So if that next debt is $1,000, you pay whatever the minimum is. We'll say $50, right? And then you add the $125. So now you're paying $175, but it's the same money. The only thing you started with was an extra $100, and you can get an extra $100 by not going to Starbucks, 2 times a week, or going out to eat, 2 or 3 times a week. Take that money and divert it into something that's going to help you pay off debt and help you become debt free. That is the goal. So you continue that cycle up. So now you're paying $175 a month for this debt. That's $1,000. From there, you take that $175 and you roll it up to the next debt. So if the next debt is $2,000 and you're paying $100, now you're paying $275. But it's still the same money. Like I said, you only took an extra $100. You're only taking an extra $100 every month and applying it to your debt, making the minimum payments plus this $100 on the smallest as you move up. And it cuts off so many days or so many years and months of paying that debt and gets you clear. And that could keep going you might have a personal loan of $12,000. You may have a mortgage payment, whatever your debt is, student loans. You just start by doing just an extra $100 and you just keep rolling those payments up and up until all your debt is free. Is clear. But quick wins create momentum. So it's easier to get that $500 credit card paid off. And for people who, like I said, need that motivation, it's like, okay, I just took $100 and instead of it taking X amount of months to pay this $500 credit balance off, I did it in almost half the time, right? So you're seeing your goals accomplished as you're rolling up. This is paid off. The next one is paid off. The next one is paid off until you're on those last debts that may be larger. It may take you a longer time to pay off, but now you've accumulated everything that you paid. Let's say $700 a month. Now you're on that last or final payment. And now you're taking that $700 that you took to pay all this off and you're applying that to the minimum payment or whatever that largest amount of debt is. A lot of people start with this because, like I said, sometimes when you are, cutting something out, so you're not drinking your Starbucks, you're not going out to eat, you're not, whatever that thing is that you spend extra money on, if you were to take that and use it, you'll see that it gives you, okay, I did something. Okay, I accomplished it. For someone who really needs to see it and not feel so bad about this money, not being a part of their day-to-day, right? This extra $100. So the next one is the debt avalanche method. And this is the best for saving money on interest. So instead of paying the smallest balance first, pay the debt with the highest interest rate first, right? Because that way you're paying less as you move forward. You're getting those things paid off. And so because you've paid them off sooner, you're not paying the 15% for 2 years. You're paying it for a year and a half, right? And it eliminates you giving all your money to interest that is not applied to your principal and what you owe. So for example, if you have a credit card with a 29%, a store card like Macy's with 24%, a personal loan with 12%, car loan 6%, and mortgage 5%. You'll usually pay less in interest over time if you start with that highest interest rate. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to save you money so that money can be applied to your future, right? So the difference between the Snowball versus Avalanche. So the Snowball focuses on the smallest balance, quick emotional wins, great for motivation, and it builds confidence. It lets you see that you're being successful one debt at a time. The Avalanche method focuses on highest interest rate, saves the most money, great for math-minded planners, minimizes your interest costs. So you have to first, to create your budget, you need to know exactly what you owe. That's why I said you want to also, whatever documents you signed when you got the cards or whatever, website you need to go to know exactly what you're paying on interest. Then you could set this budget up to help you in one way or the other. And it depends really on what you want to see, how much time you feel like, you need to take to do this. As you continue to budget and you're seeing those wins, you may say, you know what, that first $100 was a little tough at first, but you know what, I'm going to take another $50 that I would normally, take my children to, some kind of, event, park or something like that. Not a regular park, sorry, like a water park or something. But instead, you find free things that you and your kids can do. And this isn't forever, This is just allowing you to clear out your debt so that you only spend what you have, not exceeding your income. You keep your debt to income ratio low because you don't want to spend all your money paying off things that are going to add more money, more interest. The payments just keep going and it takes you forever. You end up spending $1,000, on a credit card that's $500 because you're only paying the minimum. That takes longer time than if you were to apply $100 to either that lowest balance or the highest interest rate. So it's either one where you feel like, because maybe you don't have anything with really high interest rates. All of our situations are different. So maybe the interest rate isn't something that would motivate you, but just clearing off and getting those wins is what really motivates you. And if that's what it is, it's fine. Do what works for you, but start somewhere. So which would motivate you? Seeing accounts disappear quickly or saving more money in interest, right? So the quick wins that you can see that help give you that adrenaline to keep going, they start disappearing. You start feeling good, or I want to save more money over time, even if it, it keeps the other payments longer because their interest rate is not as high. So another portion of this is building an emergency fund. So of course, even a small emergency fund matters, right? Because it's the difference between it being catastrophic if you have a situation, right? Or if it's just an inconvenience, right? We don't mind being inconvenienced sometimes. That's just a part of life. But when things are catastrophic, like, oh my God, this happened and now I can't pay my bills. I can't take care of the debt that I have. And now I'm behind in, payments. I'm paying more money, late fees and penalties. So it's important to take, even if it's a small amount, right? Because if you're not saving anything and you don't have any money to reach out if something happens, a $500 car repair could set you back, could have you late on, mortgage or your other bills. And so you want to make sure that you're applying some money there as well. Excuse me. So of course, the end result would be that we would love for you to have at least 6 months, but a year would be ideal of money saved for expenses, for money saved, right? So you want to start with 500. So start small. Let's just say, okay, I want to have $500 saved in the next, let's just say 6 months or 5 months, right? So you pay your money every month towards your savings. If you continue to do that, it continues to grow, and let it grow. Let it be there. Let the money add up, because again, when something happens, you rather be inconvenienced than lose everything, fall behind, or create more debt. And again, I'm not saying that these things are easy. What I'm saying is small steps towards clearing your debt and adding to your savings will save you a world of time and money. All right, so the next part is to talk about home ownership and debt. So of course, many people think they need perfect credit to buy a home. That's not true. Lenders often look at your debt to income ratio, your payment history, income stability, your credit scores, and your cash reserves. So it's not just a one-stop shop. And so I really, really, really want people to, if your plan is to create generational wealth, if your plan is to purchase a home in the next year, I would advise you to have your credit pulled by a lender, or there are other programs as well that will review your debt, review your credit, and help you build on that. But if you start today, you don't have to worry about it a year from now. But if you don't do it today, now a year from now, you're wishing you had done it. Start today, even if it's small, because lenders are looking at all of those things. Okay, how much debt? Okay, well, they paid off, 85% of their debt, right? Okay, well, their payment history, they always pay on time or before time. So they're looking at those things, and they can leverage them between, what type of loan, of course, that you're borrowing against. That's what they'll look at, a lot of other things. But I think the fear in our communities is that we don't want anybody to pull our credit. We don't want nobody to know how bad it is. And it's like, it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. But if you start today and you see exactly where you are, and of course you can pull your own credit report, but I just say that because if the home ownership is the goal, when they pull it, and they can do a soft pull, they pull your credit, they're going to tell you, they see what everything is, they look at everything, they see what your income is on a monthly basis, and then they say, okay, these are the small changes that I know you can make right now that will help you be prepared to buy a house in the next 6 months. Now, you might be like, I probably won't be able to buy a house for 2 years and things of that nature. But what I'm finding out in this field is that it may not take as long as you think, but it takes longer when you don't start. You can't get to the finish line if you don't start walking or running, right? It's just not possible. Also, they always say that God wants you to be a good steward of your money. So even for your faith, you want to be doing what God is asking you to do, right? And that comes with your money and how you manage it and what you spend it on, all of those types of things. So paying off debt can improve your borrowing power, right? Because now your debt is going down. So that income is still here. The debt is going down. And now they see, okay, this person is able to manage this payment. I see them being successful. And of course, we talked before that you might get approved for a house that's $250,000. That does not mean that you need to spend $250,000 or $249,999. Right? You can say, I'm going to create a pathway to generational wealth, and I'm going to get a house that I can sustain. I can make sure the payments are paid. I can continue on this. If you still have any debt, you can still work on that plan. Of course, now you have a mortgage debt. So again, that extra money can roll into that, and now your mortgage is paid off. Instead of 30, maybe it's 21 years. It's just various. But also you can get a house that is 150, right? And you make those payments and you have your savings, and then you use that equity to buy the next house. So there's a plan and a method that will help you get to that next level. So some of the things I would like to know. So what's your biggest financial goal this year? And I think for me, it is definitely considering my debt, doing my budget and actually sticking to it, saving every month, cutting out, additional expenses, but really sitting down and looking at, where am I spending my money? Where is it going? Because sometimes we just tap, swipe, and before we know it, you spent $200 on a Saturday, right? So it's very important to be mindful of where your money is going. Most successful, financially stable people can tell you exactly where their money is going, because they want to know that their money is getting them what they want, and that they're in a position to continue to grow that wealth and leave a legacy for their children. If somebody handed you an extra $1,000 today, would you save it or pay off your debt? So what I would probably do is apply maybe an additional part of that money to the whichever one of the debt plans that I was going to do, whether it be Avalanche or Snowball, right? I would apply some to that, and then I would also save, because again, we want to be working on saving money. So if you have some situation come up, you don't lose the things that you've already taken care of, and you want to make sure that you're still working on clearing out that debt. Which bill would you love to eliminate forever? Well, for most of us, and a lot of us, I would say student loans, right? And of course, a lot of people are getting those cleared and paid and forgiven, and that's awesome. But for those that have been paying on it, I think that we finished school how many years ago, and I'm still paying on this debt. I got the education years ago, right? And now I'm still paying on it, and it's affecting my credit and the things that I'm trying to accomplish. So what's one budgeting habit you found helpful? Like I said, for me, it is writing it down, because when I see it on paper, I'm like, ooh, that's a little too much on, going out, or too much on Starbucks. Like I said, Starbucks drinks can be $10, $12, $15. It really just depends. So again, you want to make sure that you're paying attention to your habits and that you're creating new habits that help you gain generational wealth. And that's what, Wealth Wednesday is all about, helping you understand, being someone who can answer questions for you. I want to be that trusted partner with you to help you reach those goals. This is why I'm doing this, right? Because while learning about insurance, I understood the importance of protecting your assets. And in that, financial literacy comes into play, because again, you need to make sure that your insurance covers all of your debt. So by finding out what your debt actually is and a plan to eliminate that, you're able to see exactly what you need, right? So I want you guys to remember something. Financial freedom doesn't happen overnight. Okay? So no, you don't go in there, and just pull your credit and I got it, right? It takes one decision at a time, one budget, one payment, one emergency fund contribution, one smart financial choice after another. But the important thing, it isn't perfection, it's progress. And that's all you need to do. You need to be progressing every day, right? So as we're allowed a different day when we could wake up in the morning, we also are allowed to try to do better. So continue to make those wise choices. And even if you didn't, and maybe you're, we can't worry about what we didn't do or did do in the past, right? We have to start today. So, I would love to help you guys create a plan that fits your goals. When we sit down, it may be that the snowball snowball plan is the one for you, right? Or it may be the avalanche. It really depends on your particular situation, right? And how you're able to do that. So whether you're working towards buying your first home, reducing debt, improving your financial future, or just want to understand your options, we need to connect. Let's connect. I'm also happy to introduce you to trusted professionals. I have had 2 mortgage lenders on these calls. I actually have an individual, a consultant that helps people build their business credit. I also have Operation Hope coming in the next month or so. And Operation Hope is a nonprofit that helps you look at your debt and make a plan. And they help hold you accountable, because they're going to reach out and see, hey, have you been working your plan? How is it going? Have you paid off this debt? And they really help you along the way, that financial literacy, the things that we may not have been taught because our parents may not have known, right? But now it's time to make the best decisions for us so that we can leave these legacies for our children. So a visual challenge, right? I want you to do a 30-day money reset challenge. And this is what I want you to first do, is to track every dollar that you spend for the next 30 days. Let's start there. Cancel one subscription that you do not use. You know how, I got this channel and they got a free thing for 14 days. And then now you've been paying it for 3 months. And you meant to cancel it because you keep forgetting. Make sure, and that's the other thing, we have to know exactly where our money is so that we see these things and we can take, I don't need to have that anymore. I don't need this anymore. Let's do a group plan on this. Most people don't have, regular cable anymore. We have streaming sites. But hey, which one do we watch the most? Let's make this sacrifice so that we can save and pay off our debt. And again, whatever your goal is, to be completely debt free, to purchase a home, to save money for your children, to make sure you can pay for life insurance and invest additional money into that, to let that grow, to help pay for your children's college. There's so many things that you might be aiming for, but this plan helps you do that, right? So then I want you to skip one unnecessary purchase every week and put that money towards savings or debt. So if Starbucks is your thing, this week I'm not going to have it. Right? So I'm going to start with that $12, $10, whatever. I'm going to put that aside. Next week, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to put that aside. So let's do that. Let's start this plan. pay at least $25 extra towards one debt before next month's Wealth Wednesday. Well, of course, we meet every Wednesday, but this is for the 30-day money reset challenge, right? I definitely want you guys to come back. I hope that the information that I shared was beneficial. It's important for us to talk about these things. It's okay. This is not about judgment. This isn't April knows everything, because I'm also applying these same things to myself. And as I'm learning more and as I'm growing and paying debt off and things like that, I'm going to share that information with you. As I meet trusted professionals in the field of real estate, life insurance, any generational wealth building business that I encounter, I'm going to try to bring those people to you so that you understand the things that we don't understand, the things we need to understand, and how we can create generational wealth with maybe just an extra $100 a month. Right? That is the call to action for you guys. So those are the things. I'm going to say it again. Track every dollar that you spend for the next 30 days. Cancel one subscription that you don't use. Skip one unnecessary purchase each week and put that money towards savings or debt. And you choose. But I want you to think about that over the next month. How am I going to do this? And also that last one is to pay at least $25 extra toward one debt. So the first one is savings or debt when you skip one unnecessary purchase and apply. So that's up to you. But then also to pay at least $25 towards one debt before next month. Okay. So I really hope that this was beneficial. I hope that you learned something from this. I look forward to bringing you additional information. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And also, this video I upload on my YouTube channel, which is, the Baraka Blueprint with April Joy. So make sure that you subscribe, follow, and also review the other videos that I've done with the mortgage lenders that explain the different loans, that explain the myths that people think are accurate. Oh, I have to have $50,000 down and things like that. Make sure that you're keeping up with me, right? Because I also am going to take you out into the community sometimes for different events and things like that. And of course, you're invited, but you also will be able to watch it live. So I thank you. I look forward to following up with you guys in the next month for the 30-day money reset challenge. And I look forward to seeing you guys not only tomorrow for Baraka the Muslima, Real Authentic Conversations with me, but also next week, Wednesday at 7 p.m., Wealth Wednesday. So thank you guys for attending. I appreciate your support. I look forward to your successes. Your successes are my successes. And so I just want to say thank you for joining and taking the time. And you guys have a wonderful night. Bye.